Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Hairsa, also known as the Hairsa Way, and today I'm doing a very exciting collab with Smitha, aka at Glam Smitty, and we are doing a beginner's guide into Cbeauty. Now listen, we are both big lovers and big fans of Cbeauty makeup, specifically eyeshadow, and we thought, why not just collab? Now, I will tell y'all this, Smitha's collection of Cbeauty is just chef's kiss. I know her collection puts mine to shame, so I'm very excited to watch her video. So please don't forget to check her out. Check out both her Instagram and YouTube. She does amazing content, not even just, you know, eyeshadow related. It's lip, it's everything, okay? Smitha has a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, I'm very excited for this collab. So without any further ado, you guys, let's get started. The way I'm gonna go about my guide or my recommendations is mostly by brand, just because I could easily just like pick, you know, a few eyeshadow palettes and talk about them. But I feel like if I give an overview of the brand, it's better for a beginner. The first brand I'm going to be talking about is a brand that I only have single eyeshadows from, and that is Joocyee. And this is what the singles look like. They come in this very cool plastic component that keeps the eyeshadow very secured there. Trust me, I've traveled with these and everything. There's no breakage, no nothing. So I'm going to be going through the singles and show them to you because, again, while you might be a beginner at Cbeauty, you might not be a beginner at makeup. So you might have some tones that might be looking for more like unique stuff from Cbeauty. I thought to just like, you know, show y'all what I have and then I can make my recommendation. This is D113 and this is like a bronzy gold. Then we have one of my favorites. This is D125 and it's like a sparkly, you know, black shimmer with a lot of colorful sparkles in it. Then we have D112, which is a silver with blue undertones. Then we have D114, which is this pink with greenish, bluish kind of sparkles. And last but certainly not least, a shadow that I've talked about before in my channel, MT126, which is this beautiful spicy neutral, which, as I've said, is the closest eyeshadow to my eye color. While it might not look like it, my eye color is green with a lot of gray undertones in it, and this is the closest shimmer I found to it. Fun fact for y'all. I know this has nothing to do with the beginner's guide, but I just wanted to mention that fact because I love this particular shadow so much. Now, again, your preference might be either one of these. They do have quite a few other ones. These are the ones that I've just come to find that are more unique in my collection. And also they do have mattes in this particular format. Now, Joocyee does have eyeshadow palettes too, but because they stick to mostly neutrals, I have not been really interested because I feel like I have those tones already in my collection. Regarding the formula on these, they tend to be very dry and hardly pressed in the pan. That's not a bad thing, okay? That's definitely not a bad thing because drier formulas tend to be very sparkly, and for people that experience creasing with creamier shadows, these are great, okay? In that regard, these are great. However, I always recommend using glitter glue with shimmery or sparkly eyeshadows of any kind, just so you don't have fallout. But again, that's just a personal thing that I always do recommend. Now, what I would recommend to a beginner, depending if you have, you know, already a lot of eyeshadow in your collection, you just want to get started in Cbeauty and you're just a beginner for Cbeauty alone, I would recommend one of the more unique tones, which I would say MT126, because I truly haven't seen anything quite like this in any of the stuff that I have. Again, granted, I don't have everything ever in the American market either, but I just don't think I've seen eyeshadows that look like this. Again, this is a grayish green with this like yellowy kind of goldish sparkle throughout. It's very unique. I would also recommend this one right here, D112, just because it's a like, you know, a bluey kind of silver. And again, while you can find silvers almost everywhere, this has like, you know, a different kind of undertone. But again, I don't think you can ever go wrong with any of them. I do quite prefer the pink one as well. It's just a really, really nice topper. You can sheer it out to look more like a topper than like actually pink. And again, those like colorful sparkles that it has make it great to go with all kinds of colors that you can, you know, layer it with or put it on top or pair it with, whatever you want to do. So again, that doesn't mean that I don't recommend the other two, but I'm just trying to like capture everybody's interest. That's why I wanted to show y'all what I have. Again, drier formula, so if you experience creasing, these might be good for you. I would say Joocyee is a brand that sticks mostly with neutrals from what I've noticed. If you are a neutrals lover and you want to try Cbeauty, they're great for that. That would be a good brand to like get started with. Next brand I'm going to be talking about is Cheeryep, because I only have 2 eyeshadow palettes and 1 single eyeshadow from Cheeryep. 2 eyeshadow palettes that I have are these 2, which yes, I have talked about in my YouTube channel. The first one is their collaboration with Freya, one of my favorite creators on Instagram, and this is what this palette looks like. I did talk about it on, you know, my best neutral eyeshadow palettes in my collection. This one is a cool tone lover's dream. This would be absolutely an amazing palette to get started with Cbeauty makeup if you like these tones, obviously. When we started talking about, me and Smitha started talking about this collab and what we wanted to do, I was like, if I list eyeshadow palettes, I knew this would be one of them, because again, it's so easy to use with tones ranging from lightest to darkest, and you know, shimmers that are again amongst the same tones. This is a good one to get started with. And I love Freya and her style, and this is very much a her palette. Highly recommend this one. I will say I love the mattes. The shimmers are very intense. Now the shimmers in this one, unlike Joocyee, tend to be creamier. They're not necessarily squishy or anything, but if you experience creasing with creamier formulas, this is something to look out for in the Cheeryep formula. Again, I've only tried this one that has shimmers because I do have another palette, but that is an all matte palette. So again, just a warning, looking out for y'all. If you prefer jar formulas, this might not be for you. I mean, unless you want to get it just for the mattes, totally fair, but just wanted to put that out there. The other palette that I have is the all matte palette, and I love the tones in these. It's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes, okay? Look at how perfectly and deliciously cool toned this look is. Okay, I only use 2 shadows. This one right here, which reminds me of chocolate milk, and then this like pastel pink right here, which looks white, but there's like a lilaciness and like a cool toneness to that pink. I don't know, it's like a very special pastel pink. I love this. Imagine like layering a little bit of sparkle on top of this. Might try that. But getting back to this palette, like I said, I love the matte formula. I love the shimmer formula too, but I wanted to make that warning just in case you might not like that. This might be a good palette to start with Cheeryep. If you really want to dip your toes into the matte formula, this is a good one. I love this particular color story because, and by the way, I'm just realizing I cannot remember the name of the palette, so I'm going to put it on the screen. I really enjoy this particular color story, and I did talk about this palette in my top colorful palettes in my collection because it's very muted. It's something more unique. Like, even if you don't like pastels necessarily, there's quite a few like mid-tone, deeper colors that you can work with. Not only that, but I feel like it's a great palette to travel with. I don't know. I mean, not only is it sleek and it just doesn't take a lot of space, I feel like you could just come up with the coolest color combos with this one. And, you know, just add shimmer. If you have a lot of singles, whether Cbeauty or not, just in general, this is such a good palette to just experiment with. Last, but certainly not least, I have only one single from Cheeryep, and it's Moon Mirror. Now this one, I don't know how it's gonna appear on the camera because from what I see in the reflection, this is looking silver, like a Tin Man silver, but when I look at it, it's like a tealy blue, like an aqua blue. It has the coolest shifts, and this one is truly like a mirror. Again, I'm looking at the reflection and it's looking silver, but when I look at it, I swear you guys, it's like an aqua blue. Like, it's so shifty, and the formula is very smooth, definitely creamy, but not squishy. I'm definitely interested in trying some more of their singles because I love their formulas, both shimmer and matte, and I kind of want to have, like, you know, the freedom of creating my own color stories. I know that they came out with some neutral ones, and I'm definitely interested in some, but yeah, they do have singles too. I feel like Cheeryep in general is a good brand to get started with Cbeauty if you really want to experiment. Next brand, I'm going to be talking about Gircult. Now, Gircult I got into beginning of 2024, so about a year and a half ago, and they're so cool. Now, Gircult has quite a few eyeshadow palettes, but their most like famous ones, I would say, are these oyster shaped ones. That's what I call them because they remind me of an oyster. In total, I have 6 Gircult quads. Okay, I wish they did more of these quads because not only do I love the packaging, I love the color stories, and I would love if they just focus on like different colors. Oh, that would be so cool. But what would I recommend to a beginner? Oh, this is such a hard question. First one I'm going to recommend is quad number 50, and this is what it looks like. Oh, it's so beautiful. I did talk about this quad in my top neutral eyeshadow palettes in my collection. A beautiful combo between a gray and a taupe. Like, it's something in between, I would say. And this particular sparkle here is extremely intense and sparkly. Like this is, oh, it's so, so good. And again, because I find it to be a more coherent color story, I feel like it would be good for a beginner in Cbeauty or a beginner in makeup in general to get introduced to that one, because it's so, again, you don't gotta think too hard. I know I use that sentence quite often, but it's just a good introduction, I feel like. And then number 51 is one of my favorites. I've traveled with this one so, so much because, again, it's more coherent. It has like a lighter shimmer, a mid-tone shimmer, and then these two mattes that you can use on crease or, you know, as liner, whatever you prefer. But this is another, I would say, more neutral one. Another good one that could be, you know, for every day or going out, whatever kind of looks that you're into or want to create. And last but certainly not least, I gotta give something to my colorful lovers out there. I believe this is number 44. I feel like for a colorful lover, this would be a great palette to try. I really, really enjoy Gircult's formula. Now talking about the formula. Their formula is great, both matte and shimmer. The matte formula, very similar to Cheeryep, is pretty blendable and pretty pigmented. Now, Cheeryep is a bit more punchy. Like if you pick up a lot, it might be a lot. Not that it doesn't blend out easily, but just in general, I'm trying to like pull comparisons. So I love the Gircult matte formula. I feel like it's very, I would say very beginner friendly. And the shimmer formula tends to be more on the drier side. Maybe not as dry as Joocyee, but definitely not creamy like the Cheeryep formula. Like it's definitely a pretty, you know, soft formula, but not necessarily creamy. I would say it's dry, not as dry as Joocyee. Again, I'm trying to pull comparisons so I can give you all some kind of context, but I love both. I love both of their formula, shimmer or matte. I really, really hope that they come out with more stuff because I'm just in love with whatever I've tried. Next brand I'm going to be talking about is Kaleidos. Now, y'all know that is a delicate topic for me because every time Kaleidos' name is mentioned in this channel, I always say, wake up Kaleidos, what the hell are you doing? Now, chronologically, Kaleidos is the first brand I ever tried. Back when they were cool, back when they were doing stuff, okay? Back when they were releasing anything. As I said, chronologically, Kaleidos is the first Cbeauty brand that I ever tried, actually back in January of 2021. 4.5 years ago. Cannot believe it, how time has flown by. They were collabing with Angelica Nyqvist, a very well-known beauty YouTuber, and she created the Club Nebula palette with them. To this day, one of my favorite palettes of all time. Y'all have seen it on my channel. Y'all have seen how used and abused and loved she is. You know that I love that palette very much, but obviously that got discontinued because at the end of the day, it was just a collab. Then they came out with Flower Punk, which they mysteriously just discontinued without even telling people. I remember people begging them, being like, hey, when are you restocking that palette? Thankfully, I do have that palette. It's just amazing. I did a little bit of history about Kaleidos, that if you are a Cbeauty beginner, Kaleidos was a very cool, popular brand back in the day. Now, Kaleidos very much slowed down with the releases, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And they started doing a lot more neutrals, which again, it's fine, nothing wrong with that. But they started doing mostly quads, which again was kind of like a change and kind of like a weird step to take, especially knowing that they're a brand that do more color stories that are like very out there and very colorful. So this like switch in tones and everything was a little strange. Now, that's not to say that the quads are not amazing quality. It's just that they have been dormant for so long. I cannot remember the last time they released something makeup wise. I believe it's been since like 2023. That's a long time. I still see comments to this day in their posts, people being like, are you guys releasing anything new? Like, because people miss it. Like, Kaleidos is a good brand. Again, all this rant that I do and criticism of them is because I expect them to do better because they're a great brand. They're very successful. I'm going to be talking about the quads, and that's what I'm going to be recommending. On the Kaleidos website right now, they have 6 quads. I have 4 of those. Escape Pod, which is like their more colorful palette, and it's the same kind of version, the 15 eyeshadows, just like Club Nebula used to be. And then the Futurism palette, Electro Turquoise, I think, because it's being discontinued and it's on a pretty discounted price. So if you want to go get that one, I highly recommend. That's pretty good. But I wanted to stick with the quads because that's what seems to be their preference in releasing makeup when they do. It's been 2.5 freaking years, okay? So I don't know if they're ever releasing anything again. I've kind of lost hope, and I feel like many other people have too. Let's get back to the quads after all of that rant, okay? Let's talk about the quad. You'll come to find that they don't really have many colorful options quads-wise. The only one that I would say is pretty colorful out of the ones they have and out of the ones I have, because again, I have 4 out of the 6, is Glowing Iris, which is a monochromatic quad because what else can you do with a quad? You know, you have to create a more coherent color story and you got to be a monochromatic. It's kind of like the quad itself, the format itself kind of forces you to be. If you are a lover of cool toned purples, highly recommend. And the shimmer formula in these quads are even better than Club Nebula or Escape Pod or the Futurism palettes. I truly mean it. Like the formula of the shimmers has stepped up a lot more. A good palette. No complaints. I love it. If they did colorful versions of these, I would love it. Like if they did a blue or red, the green, go for all the colors that exist out there. Do it. I would love for them to come out with this kind of stuff. Here you go, Kaleidos. Here you go. A free idea for you to use. But I know you're not gonna because you've been asleep. But this is a pretty cool one. Highly recommend. Again, if you're a colorful, specifically purple lover, that might be a good one for you. The other three that I have are all neutrals. One of them is warm, which is this one right here, Cold Brew. And then the other two are Cool Tone. Now, Cold Brew I did talk about, again, in my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes in my collection. And this is what it looks like. Very pretty. I actually even called this a bridal palette if you're interested in it. Now, I understand that if you're not a beginner in makeup and you like neutrals, you might already have these tones. But again, if you don't and you really, really want to try the Kaleidos formula, great palette. Like I said, I have no complaints with the quality. The other two quads that I have are Cool Tones, and this is Black Jasmine. As you can see, I've hit pan in the lightest matte gray. This is an amazing, amazing cool toned quad. Okay, if you are into these kind of tones, this is all you need. Okay, this silver is pretty intense and pretty amazing. It tends to be a little darker. It's perfectly mid-tone, which I feel like fits perfect with the palette too. Again, see, I give credit where credit's due. I do love this palette. It's very well traveled with me and well used, as you can see. Last but certainly not least is Venus Trap. I just got this one this year, and I have to say, I also love the tones in this one. The sparkle is out of this world. Again, if you are a cool tone lover, but not necessarily with grays, this might be a better option for you because it has like, you know, this pink and these like softer taupes. So if you prefer that kind of color story, this might be great for you. I would say that this is also a great bridal palette. I don't know, just saying. I'm really interested to get the other two just because, like, you know, they're cool color stories, again, more on the neutral but or like cool tone side. So I'm definitely interested. But again, even though I complained about Kaleidos and, you know, give them shit, I still think that they're great quality. I just want to see more. I just want to see more from them. I would love to see more from them. Again, if they continued with the quads, I have nothing against the quads. I think quads are very practical. Just like I talked about Gircult. Like, it's easy to travel with, easy to not think too hard and create, you know, a quick look for every day of going out, whatever you want to get the palette for. It's just that they're not doing enough. That's why for a beginner out there, again, Kaleidos, I'm going to be like,
it's been 84 years.
They came out with hair dyes. We want makeup. We want makeup. Please, preferably colorful, but we want makeup. The next brand I'm going to be talking about is Choiz Beauty. I only have these two products from Choiz. First one being this beautiful 6-pan eyeshadow, Dragonfly eyeshadow palette, which they don't have anymore. I don't know what happened to these like 6-pan color stories. This is what they used to look like, and they, you know, would put the insect, yeah, there you go, it is a dragonfly, you know, of like the color story. They had like bee, moth, like they had some really butterfly, they had some really cool ones. I don't know why they have discontinued them. I know that they're doing their like 6-pan format in like a palette that is like, you know, you can pop them out, like a palette with wells, basically. They're just magnetic. But this is what the dragonfly looks like. Personally, I really like this color story, but this palette did need a deep matte. We could have replaced this neutral with something else, maybe a deeper matte. It's cool, but again, I cannot recommend it because it's been discontinued, or maybe it's coming back. Again, I'm not really sure on that. But the other palette that I have is Phalaenopsis, which I did talk about it in my top colorful palettes in my collection. This is what this one looks like. Now let's talk about the formula. First of all, I really like this color story. The color story is very cool, something I wouldn't have thought to come up with. They only have 4 shimmers in here, and the rest, which is what, 8? Yeah, 8 of the other shadows are mattes. The mattes are very hardly pressed in the pan. They're pigmented, they're blendable, but they're very hardly pressed. So sometimes to pick it up, you might need to go more than once. That doesn't make it a bad palette. Shimmers are also pretty, you know, hardly pressed in the pan, but they tend to be a little more, I don't want to say creamy, but they are softer. But they're very sparkly. They're very, very foiled, especially this gold right here. It's insane. I like the shimmers a lot. I really like the tones of the shimmers too, especially the green and the blue. They're so gorgeous. I've tried the pink too. It's pretty sparkly, but yeah, I would recommend Phalaenopsis, but just keep in mind that the mattes might need a little bit more work than the other brands that I mentioned. I still would recommend it though. I feel like they do have some cool color stories. They have some neutrals too if you're interested in that. It's not a bad brand to get started with. Pretty easy to travel, and I really like the packaging. One thing I haven't mentioned throughout the brands, but Cbeauty brands have truly the coolest packaging. Last brand I'm going to be talking about, I'm sure a lot of y'all were looking forward to this portion of the video, but I left it at the end on purpose, is Narimi. Yes, I have 9 Narimi palettes. Now, I discovered Narimi last year, I believe around spring, so I don't have any of their older color stories that have been discontinued, but I don't have the other 2 one that just came out this year. I do want to get them down the line because I feel like I've become a collector for Narimi. I love the formula so much. Let me talk, I know that for every brand I've talked about the formula towards the end. I'm going to talk about the Narimi formula at the very beginning. I love both the shimmers and the mattes. The mattes are amazing. One thing about the mattes is that there is a lot of kickback in the pan because they tend to be very soft. Also, when purchasing these eyeshadow palettes, a lot of them have arrived broken. I will talk about the experience with the 2 stores that I've tried to buy Cbeauty from at the end of the video, but just wanted to make that very clear is that they are delicate. I will be honest, I haven't traveled with any of my Narimi palettes, especially like, you know, if I'm going somewhere flying, because I'm afraid to bring any because they tend to break pretty easily. Coming back to the mattes, if you mind a lot of kickback on the pan or on your face, I don't, but if you do, that might be something to keep in mind because these mattes are very soft, very pigmented, very blendable. They're very similar to the Dandelions cosmetic formula. Dandelions is an American indie brand, very similar formula. I would say that they have truly, like, that's the most comparable formula I could find when it comes to mattes. So, and those also tend to break very easily. So, just wanted to make that very clear. Again, that doesn't mean that you're going to receive a broken palette every time you buy one because some of them have arrived fine the first time I've gotten them, but it is something to keep in mind. Again, with my experience. That might be just a personal experience and nobody else's, but it is my experience. As y'all saw, I have 9 palettes from Narimi, and I am so torn on what to recommend because I kind of want to recommend something for everyone. One thing I will say, in their selection of palettes, they have a pretty good split between neutrals and colorful palettes. I actually have a short that I show all of these palettes that I have in my collection, so, or a reel, whichever one you want to go to. I will probably link it down below, so if you want to see the full, again, collection that I have from Narimi, I have that available. So I'm not going to do it in this video since I've already done it, but I will say, if there is something for everyone in this brand, you want to try it. So I'm gonna do probably 2 neutral recommendations and 2 colorful ones. First palette I'm gonna be talking about is the Black Ash palette, and this is what it looks like. This is one of my most used Narimi palettes. I love this one. If you told a year ago me that I would love this palette as much as I do, she wouldn't have believed you, because when I first purchased from Narimi, I of course went for the colorful options, obviously, but this one is just so amazing. I just love the muted tones of these colorful, more colorful, I should say, shades that they give these 2 mattes right here are just amazing, and the shimmers being like so sparkly and deep. There's something about this palette that I feel like a lot of y'all might enjoy. Again, leaning more on the cool tone side of things. Well, you have, you know, like a warmer chocolatey brown, but in general, I would say this palette leans more on the cool tone. And again, like I said, the mattes are very pigmented. One swipe and sometimes it's all it takes. And again, the shimmers are extremely sparkly. For a warmer neutral palette, I believe this is called the Red Amber. I might be wrong. Again, I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong, but this is what it looks like. This is just such a pretty, cozy color story. I just want to point out one particular shadow. Pearl, such a good shadow and such a good topper. I know my mom loves it too because she has this palette too. If you prefer warmer neutrals, this is the palette for you from Narimi. And again, they put that like spicy neutral in there, so if in case you want to spice it up a little bit, there is a darker shimmer, but I really enjoy this palette too. It's really nice. For colorful, this is a palette I've talked about a lot in my channel, and this Fireflies in the Night. Yeah, you guys knew that this was coming up. If you're a colorful eyeshadow lover, I would highly recommend this one, just because where else do you find a red and purple eyeshadow palette. I don't know, this is so good. The shimmers in this are so good. I love that there's a matte black in there too, which as you can imagine is very intense. The reds are perfect, the purples are perfect, just the tones in this palette, I don't know, there's nothing I will change about this palette. It's just an amazing palette all around. Highly recommended, especially if you're into these kind of tones. Now the second colorful palette that I'm going to recommend is Electric Sheep. This palette is for those of y'all that like colors but like to stay on the more lighter side. Again, I just wanted to make sure to capture everybody's preferences. And this is what she looks like. There's a lot of pastels, but I do like that we have like a deeper matte to, you know, deepen out everything. And the shimmers in here are very layerable. As a palette, it's very well thought out. And look at that packaging. So freaking cool. So yeah, I would highly recommend this one as well. Again, the formula, I would say, and the quality is consistent throughout all Narimi palettes, at least the ones that I've tried. Again, I'm very into the new 2 ones, so at some point I really want to get them. Now, as a Cbeauty beginner, you might be like, but where do I go and buy these products? Okay, I really want to buy them. Where the hell do I go? I can go to Sephora and Ulta. The only 2 online stores, except for Kaleidos I bought straightly from their website. The only 2 stores that I bought Cbeauty from are Cbeauty Mall and Lookhealthy store. Now, I've had experiences with both. Granted, I haven't bought anything from either in months. Cbeauty Mall, even longer than that probably. Lookhealthy store, my last purchase was back in January, I believe. And Cbeauty Mall, I want to say before then even. Mostly on a low buy, y'all. So for me, I haven't been purchasing a lot of makeup. But I will say this. Quite often with Cbeauty Mall, things have arrived broken. And again, this is just my experience as a shopper. I want to make sure that I tell y'all my experience. What decision you make at the end of the day is completely, fully up to you. With Cbeauty Mall, every time something has arrived broken, I have emailed the store and told them, hey, it's broken. I've attached pictures, and they've always either sent me a new one, and when that other new one arrives, fine, we're good. Sometimes when the second purchase arrives broken, then they just refund me the money. Sometimes they even send me $5 vouchers, which has been really nice. They didn't have to do that. I don't ask for more than just either a refund or a replacement. I understand that some of the products travel a very long way from China all the way to here, so understandable, you know, there's breakage even from one state to the other, let alone like, you know, continents from here. Lookhealthy store, however, there was an experience that I had with them the beginning of this year. I did talk about more of it in my stories, but basically one of the products that I ordered arrived broken, and I had to go on quite a few back and forths with the store for them to either refund me or send me a new one, because again, they were just trying to tell me to like either press it or whatever. Again, I understand if anybody else's experience has been great with the store. I just am a bit more wary of Lookhealthy store, just because what if something arrives broken? I don't want to go through that rigmarole again. They ended up sending me the product after, again, I went back and forth and stood strongly and being like, no, I really like a replacement or a refund, whichever, I don't care at that point. And they sent me a new one, and thankfully that arrived fine, and I didn't have to deal with them after that. But again, I just wanted to share my experience. This is not me saying go buy from Cbeauty Mall and not from Lookhealthy store or vice versa. This is just me sharing my experience. Again, whichever you want, you go for and you're happy with, continue to do so. I love Cbeauty. I love that we are able to try and have the privilege, honestly, to go to these online stores and be able to buy the makeup. There is other places where you can buy Cbeauty Mall. Taobao, I've never used it, so I can't speak on it. I don't even have the experience or know where to go. Now, let me talk about some other Cbeauty brands. ShellWe makeup, I only have one palette from them, and it's Somber Garden, but because I haven't had it for that long of a time and I haven't used it as much, I didn't want to like, you know, talk about it as a recommendation, because I really want to be able to try things like fully and experience them fully myself before recommending it to other people. Kryptein Cosmetics is another brand that I actually just made my first purchase from last week. Excited for those palettes. I got the Atlantis palette and Sunset Symphony, the newest one that they came out with. And then another Cbeauty brand that I would like to try eyeshadow wise, because I've tried some of their other products, is Flower Nose. I know that they came out with like some shell shaped kind of palettes. The only thing that I'm not really happy with when it comes to Flower Nose is that their stuff is like pretty light, not very inclusive. And again, I'm very intrigued by their eyeshadow formulas, but I am keeping an eye on them. I definitely do want to try them. So yeah, those are the Cbeauty brands that come to mind that I really, really want to try. Another one is Anthemy, and from that one, I really just want to try the Ice Ferret palette. So pretty. I know that I can dupe it. I most likely will dupe it, but just putting it out there. Dramo, I think is how you say it, is another one that I would like to try. But again, like I said, I've been on a low buy and I've been pretty mindful when it comes to my eyeshadow palette purchases, so I've slowed down a lot more. But yeah, this is what I got. I know that I didn't show my full collection on camera. If y'all want to see a video on like me showing my full, you know, Cbeauty collection, I don't have a lot, but you know, I have these things and I love them very much. This is my beginner's guide. I hope it was helpful. I really hope it was helpful. Please do not forget to check out Smitha's video, you guys. I'm so excited to see your video. I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited to see everything. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.